everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am working on a canvas. I like to call these practice canvases because I get them at Michael's and they're the super value packs. But I had one handy and I kind of just wanted to play around with a color scheme. So I've got various yellows and Payne's gray there. I've got Benzimidazolone yellow, India yellow, and I'm putting some Payne's gray on there right at the bottom now. I have absolutely no plan for this piece other than the fact that I wanted to use these colors. And I had some requests on my last video to do more fine line work, and I am never going to say no to that because it is one of my first loves. I will actually put up the piece at the end of this video that was a loose inspiration for this piece. So I am just working on getting those colors blended, and I'm going back and forth with several different brushes. Basically, the only reason for that is I want them, when I'm blending, I want the brushes to be dry. So as soon as I get too much paint on them or too much water, I just have to move on to a new brush. So if you have a lot of old brushes in your stash, it's not a bad way to use them. If you want to get a nice blended background, especially when you're using very dark and very light colors which don't have a mid-tone that they are being blended into. A lot of times when I am doing a background like this, I will try to blend the colors a little bit more, like make the colors graduate a little bit more, I guess is a better way to put it, but I wanted this stark contrast. So that's a way that I can achieve that blending without muddying up the whole entire thing. And you'll see there, I'm going in and adding water here and there. If I get too much darkness over the yellow, I can go in and remove some of that and tamp it back a little bit. And I'm basically just going back and forth here with all of these brushes and a little bit of water and just waiting until I get the look that speaks to me and says it's done. I know that's a terrible way to teach, but that's how I do these pieces. It will let me know when I've done enough to it, and until that point I will just keep blending and trying to get a pleasing background. And here you'll see sometimes that means adding a little bit more paint in here and there. I wanted it to be just a touch darker at the bottom, but I didn't want to use a solid black because since I know I'm going to be doing some line work, I want it to at least be partially visible over the dark area at the bottom. And if I would have used just a solid Mars black, let's say, you of course wouldn't be able to see my line ink work through all of that darkness. So I'm just adding a little more of the yellow on there to push brightness in certain areas. Again, just blending, and you'll see I'm using my blending brush to move in circular areas, and then I'm taking a flat brush and taking it up and down and side to side just to make sure everything is blended exactly the way that I want it, which doesn't mean that I have a particular plan in mind. It's just I'm all going off of visual cues here and waiting until I get that signal from my brain that everything is looking good and I'm getting the definition and background that I want for this piece. So I'm starting out here with a Faber Castel Pitt pen, and I'm making that curved shape there, which you'll see in the end is based off of my inspiration piece. But I very quickly end up switching over to a Micron pen. I don't like the thickness of line that this Pitt pen is giving me. It's just a little bit too thick. Now most of that ended up in the darker parts, so it gets eaten up by that darkness, so it's totally fine. But I'm using a Micron pen here, which is typically my pen of choice for doing these fine line pieces, and I believe this is a 0.01 that I'm using there. That's typically the one that I use. I like the fineness of the line. It really lets me get in there and give any kind of small detail work that I want without feeling too clunky and chunky, which the Pitt pen was doing in this particular instance. I definitely like them for other uses, just not necessarily in this piece here. So you can see that I'm going along and making all of these small, loosely leaf-shaped details on the piece. Again, this is kind of based very loosely off of my inspiration piece, which you'll see. But I very quickly realized that they were not abstracted enough for me. So, and you can see here, I don't know if you'll be able to tell what I mean just yet, but when I go in and really start doing the very abstract ones, you'll be able to tell the difference. It was just catching my eye in the wrong way, so I decided to really go in and abstract those shapes much further and actually go over the ones that I already had there and make them much more sketchy looking. And you can see this line that I'm putting over here on the left of those. That's really more the shape that I was going for. They are not perfect. They are not, clip art leaf shapes, which is what it kind of started looking like to me, and I didn't want that. I wanted to make my own sort of shape to put in there. So I went over and just, I don't want to say redid, but I added to the ones that were already there and just followed up along that entire curve shape that I had down, adding these leaves to it. I've done a little more work on that, and now I'm coming up to the top and continuing that. And you might be able to tell that as I'm approaching the curve, I'm starting to curve the shapes so that they match the curve of the line that I made. That way they're not going to be sticking straight up and down, awkward and unnatural looking way. They're following the line of, if you want to think of that as a stem, they're following the line of that. And if you see a plant growing in nature, obviously the leaves will follow the line of that stem and they're not growing awkwardly out of it. So I'm just finishing up there, getting all of those little shapes put in. And that was a point where I kind of stopped because I was really loving the way that it was looking, but I really didn't know what was going to be next. And I think I say this in every single one of my videos, but I am an intuitive artist, which typically means I do not have a finished plan in my head for a piece, usually just an idea, maybe a shape, or like in this instance, just the color scheme of the yellows and the Payne's gray. So that was a point where I stopped and slept on it, came back the next day, and decided to go from there. So what I saw was some areas at the bottom there that needed a little bit more detail drawn in. And while I realized that you can't see them that well over the darkness, you could still see that there was nothing there, and that was bothering my eye. So I went in and filled that area in just a little bit. And I thought that the long piece going up the left hand side there needed to be finished off, and I'm glad I did that because it really added something that was missing. So the one other thing that I really thought it needed was a little bit of darkness to kind of ground it and pull it all together. So I started making very small leaf shaped, kind of the same shape that I was doing there, but filling them entirely in with the black ink. And I think this was key in really pulling the whole piece together. It just looked a bit bare and naked, like something was missing. And when I go through and add all of these, it really helps to just make it look a little more finished and polished. And I brought you in here a little bit closer to watch me. Again, these are very imperfect shapes, and I'm doing that on purpose. One, because that's what I started with there with the other shapes, and that makes it make visual sense. But two, I don't want anything perfect in this piece. So I just needed these little spots of darkness. And I'm following up the whole entire shape of that curve there, adding those in. And when I get up around the just where the curve starts, I start spindling them out. I know that's not a word, but I'm putting them on a little bit longer lines to make them come out from the piece a little bit more in the same way that some of these other leaves start doing. So this piece kind of harkens back to my last couple of videos, where I said that you can search for inspiration in your own pieces, because I did that here, and I'll be putting that inspiration piece up in just a moment, but also going back to some previous styles that you used to work in and pulling those and adding them to your current work to make everything fresh, but also really press the point that this is the work of one artist. So I have always loved fine line work. I always will. I used it in my work from the very beginning. I think I've shown you some other pieces. If not, I will take a look and search for some of those and put them up at the end as well. Some of my earlier works where I pretty much did nothing but abstract fine line work over top of interesting backgrounds. Most of the time back then I was using alcohol inks to make the backgrounds, but some of it was in acrylic paint too. So it's just another way to, if you're in an artistic slump and you're looking for something to spark some creativity, and you look back at your old work and see what you've got, and maybe you'll be able to pull one or two details up to current times and add them to what you're currently doing. And I think you'll be really surprised with some of the results that you get. I know it works for me, and I really love doing that. But I've got just a few more seconds here of finishing up the fine line work, and then I went in and took my black paint and roller up along the sides, and here's what we ended up with. I love the way this turned out. I absolutely love doing the fine line art, and I will be doing more of that because I don't think I can ever completely take that out of my uh, artist's bag of tricks, because it is one of my favorites. So I want to show you some pieces here that I've done in the past. This is the one from today's inspiration. This is a piece that I did, I think, about 2 years ago, that I entered into a juried exhibit and it was accepted. Um, this is called Flower of the Beast. And this one is called Earth Flower. It was from a series that I did that was that went along with the last one. That's a smaller one, 10-inch by 10-inch. This next one is called Chaos Interval. This was also entered into a juried exhibit and made it in. Most of these pieces that I'm showing you now have sold. I think all of them have, except for the very first one, the Flower of the Beast. This is called They Say It Stopped Raining. That's a 16-inch by 20-inch, one of my favorite pieces that I ever did. I just love the intricate fine line work in this piece. And when I pop today's piece back up, you can see where this inspiration has come from. So I encourage all of you to look at your previous work and try to draw some new inspiration from it. And I thank you all so much for joining me through this journey, and I appreciate all of you. If you haven't had a chance, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you like what you saw today, please click the like button. It helps me out immensely and is absolutely free. I put out a brand new video every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Take care.